If you're over 70 and still driving in Australia, what I'm about to tell you could seriously affect your ability to keep your license in the coming months. And thousands of older Australians have no idea these changes are happening. The rules around senior drivers are shifting once again, and some states are introducing requirements that could catch you completely off guard if you're not prepared. Before we dive into exactly what's changing and when, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss important updates that could affect your driving privileges. Now let's talk about what's actually happening across Australia. Because the reality is that our population is aging rapidly, and road authorities are responding with new measures they say will keep our roads safer for everyone. Australia currently has over 4 million licensed drivers aged 65 and above, and that number is expected to grow significantly over the next decade. With this demographic shift, state governments are reviewing and updating their approach to older drivers, and these changes are coming whether we're ready for them or not. The thing is, driving isn't just about convenience for many seniors. It's about independence, staying connected to community, getting to medical appointments, and maintaining quality of life. So when the rules change, it affects real people in real ways. Let me start by breaking down what's currently required for older drivers across different states, because Australia doesn't have a uniform national approach to this issue. In New South Wales, once you turn 70, you need to have an annual medical assessment completed by your doctor, and then from age 85, you'll also need to pass a practical driving test every 2 years. Victoria requires drivers aged 70 and over to pass a medical assessment every year, but they've recently been discussing additional measures. Queensland has similar requirements with annual medical checks from age 70, but they're now looking at bringing in cognitive assessments as well. South Australia, Western Australia, Tasmania, the Northern Territory, and the ACT all have their own variations. And this patchwork system is actually part of what's driving the new changes we're seeing. The big shift that's coming revolves around 3 main areas, and this is where things get serious for many older Australians. First, several states are moving toward mandatory cognitive testing for drivers over a certain age, not just the standard medical checkup you might be used to. These aren't simple memory tests. They're designed to assess your reaction times, your ability to process information quickly, your spatial awareness, and your capacity to handle multiple tasks simultaneously. All things that are crucial for safe driving. Some states are looking at implementing computerized testing systems similar to what's used in other countries, and trials have already begun in certain regions to see how effective these assessments are at identifying drivers who might be at risk. The second major change involves the frequency of testing and assessments. While annual medical checks are currently standard in most states for drivers over 70, there's a push to increase this to every 6 months in some jurisdictions, particularly for those over 80 or 85. The argument from road safety authorities is that health conditions can deteriorate quickly in older age, and annual assessments might not catch changes soon enough. This means more trips to the doctor, more paperwork, and more costs for seniors who are often already dealing with multiple medical appointments and fixed incomes. Critics of this approach say it places an unfair burden on older Australians and treats them as though they're automatically risky drivers simply because of their age, which many argue is discriminatory. The third area of change relates to restricted licenses and conditional driving permissions. Several states are exploring or implementing systems where older drivers might be given licenses with specific conditions attached based on their assessment results. This could mean restrictions on driving at night, limitations on highway driving, requirements to stay within a certain radius of home, or prohibitions on driving during peak traffic times. The idea is that instead of taking someone's license away completely, authorities can allow them to continue driving, but in situations that match their current capabilities. On paper, this sounds reasonable, but in practice, it can significantly limit where and when seniors can go, potentially isolating them just as much as losing their license entirely would. Now, you might be wondering when exactly these changes are coming into effect, and this is where it gets complicated because different states are moving at different speeds. New South Wales has indicated that enhanced cognitive testing will be rolled out progressively starting in mid-2025, with the system fully operational by early 2026. Victoria has been conducting trials and is expected to announce their updated requirements sometime in the second half of 2025. Queensland's Transport Department has been unusually quiet about specific dates, but industry insiders suggest changes could come as early as late 2025. The other states and territories are watching these larger jurisdictions closely and will likely follow suit with their own versions of updated testing within the next 12 to 18 months. What makes this situation even more challenging is that many older Australians simply aren't aware these changes are coming. Governments have been criticized for not doing enough to inform senior drivers about what to expect, how to prepare, and what resources are available to help them. There's a real concern that thousands of people could suddenly find themselves unable to meet new requirements without adequate warning or support. Some aged care advocates have called for better communication strategies, including direct mail to all license holders over a certain age, community information sessions, and clear guidance on how to maintain driving fitness as you age. So what can you do if you're an older driver, or if you have elderly parents or relatives who might be affected by these changes? The first and most important step is to stay informed about what's happening in your specific state or territory. Don't wait for a letter in the mail that might never come. Take the initiative to contact your local transport authority or check their website regularly for updates. Start preparing now by scheduling a comprehensive medical checkup that specifically addresses your fitness to drive. Be honest with your doctor about any health concerns, vision changes, medication effects, or cognitive issues you might be experiencing. It's better to address these proactively than to be caught off guard during a mandatory assessment. Consider taking a voluntary driving assessment through programs like the Occupational Therapy Driving Assessments that are available in most areas. These comprehensive evaluations can give you an objective view of your current driving abilities and identify any areas where you might need improvement or support. Many seniors find that these assessments actually boost their confidence because they confirm they're still capable drivers, while others appreciate getting feedback on specific skills they can work on. If issues are identified, there are often strategies, exercises, or modifications that can help you continue driving safely. Another practical step is to start thinking about alternatives and backup plans now, not in a crisis when your license is suddenly at risk. Research what public transport options exist in your area. Look into community transport services for seniors. Investigate ride-sharing programs, and talk to family and friends about support networks. This isn't about giving up your independence, it's about being realistic and prepared. Many areas have volunteer driving services specifically for older people who need to get to appointments or social activities, and these can be excellent resources even if you're still driving but want occasional backup. There's also a growing movement among senior advocacy groups to challenge some of these new requirements, arguing that age alone shouldn't determine driving fitness, and that the testing should be based on individual capability rather than arbitrary age cutoffs. If you feel strongly about these issues, consider getting involved with organizations like National Seniors Australia or CODA, the Council on the Aging, which are actively lobbying for fairer and more supportive approaches to older driver licensing. Your voice and experience matter in these policy discussions, and governments do respond to organized community pressure. The research on older drivers presents a complex picture that often gets oversimplified in public debate. While it's true that some driving abilities can decline with age, many older drivers are actually safer than younger ones in important ways. They're more likely to wear seatbelts, less likely to speed, rarely drink and drive, and tend to avoid risky driving behaviors. The challenge is that when older drivers do have crashes, they're more likely to be seriously injured due to physical fragility. The question isn't really whether older people should drive, but how we can support safe driving for as long as possible, while also protecting everyone on the road. These new rules represent a significant shift in how Australia manages senior drivers, and they're coming sooner than most people realize. Whether you see them as necessary safety measures or unfair age discrimination, the reality is they're happening, and preparation is your best strategy. Stay informed, get assessed proactively, maintain your health, and have honest conversations with your family about driving and independence. The goal isn't to take away your freedom, it's to ensure that when you're behind the wheel, you're safe and confident. These changes might feel overwhelming, but with the right information and preparation, you can navigate them successfully and continue driving for as long as you're safely able to do so.